fear is like fire, or criticism, it's like fire.
Mm-hmm.
It can burn your house or it can cook your food.
This episode is brought to you by
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chat with Mick. Right next to me, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky because I haven't seen him in a long time. But welcome, Christian Ylagan.
It's an honor to be here as always. Yeah, Mic Diaz, one of the best people that I know in the community, and yeah, I'm really excited to talk about things with you.
The last time he was on my show, literally in an interview, was almost 4 years ago,
yeah.
right? During the pandemic.
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
He was part of the fitness enthusiasts group panel with Edwin Balaloy and Abigail Castillo. Each of them had their own focus in terms of fitness. How did you get into being a fitness guru that you are now?
You know what? I was just gonna mention when you mentioned that interview like 3 years ago, that I was actually doing it while I was in the car, and we still pulled it off. You remember that?
Yeah.
So going back to your question, what was that again?
What got you into fitness?
Okay, what got me into fitness? It started out when I was younger because my dad was really a big influence in my life. He was always working out. He was always setting a good example of how exercise is supposed to be part of our daily routine. So he would take me to it's a place called Metro Club. So we would go there. He would play tennis, and then he would have me go swimming until he enrolled me in a lot of sports such as basketball, swimming, soccer, taekwondo. And ever since I was a kid, like all my life, I've been into fitness already. Especially when I turned 30, because I kind of lay low on fitness during my younger adult years. So when I turned 30, it was a wake-up call that I'm not getting any younger, and that we have to make better choices in terms of nutrition, in terms of exercise, in order to live a better quality of life. So that was my wake-up call back when I was like 30, 31 years old.
What was the turning point that you had to have a wake-up call? Was there anything that you were doing or weren't doing back then?
Yeah, back then I was a party goer. Like I've been into I would always go to events almost every night, going out, and it was unhealthy because I lacked sleep until I went on a checkup, and the doctor told me that I had hypertension at age 30. Imagine that. Yeah, so that's when I decided to dedicate my life to fitness, to exercising, to never let go of it until the very end.
But what you're doing now, is it what you call CrossFit?
I would say cross training. Kasi I
Cross-training.
do a lot of things. I started out going to a traditional gym. Then years later, I was introduced to this place called True Fit Boot Camp in Van Nuys that kind of introduced me to functional fitness, the CrossFit that you were mentioning. So functional fitness is like a mixture of cardiovascular exercises and Olympic lifting and traditional lifting, and also some gymnastics, like very, very basic gymnastics. So fast forward, I became a coach in that gym. So that was like my foundation in the fitness industry.
When you were younger, you said you were doing a lot of sports, so you dabbled into so many different kinds of sports, and those sports that you mentioned focused on different parts of the body,
Yeah.
right? So with tennis, like the legs and the arms, and with swimming, it's mostly like everything, and then you get like bigger
Upper body.
What is it about those various sports that led you into doing cross fitness?
Okay, so those stars, it also gave me a foundation as a young kid. For being I was never like a varsity player or a top player in any. I never excelled professionally in any of those sports, but it created a good foundation because I wasn't a professional athlete, but I trained like an athlete, like in everything that I do. Kasi one thing about me, I'm very competitive. So all of those sports, I couldn't choose like just one, although I really excelled in swimming. But I couldn't choose only one because I was competitive in everything, to the point that I want to be really, really good in everything. Pero medyo nawala yung focus. But what's good about it is that it created a good foundation for me in terms of knowledge for fitness. And of course, andyan yung mga courses and everything. I really studied about the human body. I took up NASM courses about
What's
human.
NASM?
It's a National Academy of Sports Medicine. Yeah, so that's my that earned me my license as a fitness coach.
Is that license renewable?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yeah.
Literally have to take continuing education classes.
Yes, and also I'm also specializing in overall wellness for people who lived most of their life that weren't really active. So I wanted them to partake a little bit of what I have experienced as an active kid, as an active teenager, and as an active adult.
You have always been a sports enthusiast, right? What was that moment when you said, I can teach this to other people, I'm good at this, can like help other people with their fitness goals?
I became a coach during the pandemic, because during the pandemic I said it in another interview that I really went through depression. Back then I wasn't a coach yet, so went through depression, talked to professional people, and then one of them suggested to pursue something that you've never pursued before. So I was thinking, like, what is that? Okay, so I like working out, I like being active. Why don't I study becoming a coach? So that's when I reached out to the owner of the boot camp where I used to go, which just opened because of the pandemic. So they closed for a few months. And then when they reopened, they were hiring coaches. That's when I offered my services. And my mentor, Daitanian, the owner of the gym, he was the one who taught me like foundation until he also told me to get my own license to be a certified coach.
Okay.
And the rest was history.
Did they ask you fortifications?
Initially,
like, off the
no.
bat?
No, because like their qualifications is to be coachable, and that's one thing. That's one of my strengths is coachability. So if I work with a mentor, if I work with someone who knows more than I do, I really do my best to pick their mind a little and become like them. And of course, like, you know, he's an amazing coach. So he didn't require me yet, but eventually, like after my training as a coach, then he suggested for me to take my NASM certification. That's
Does
what I did.
the NASM certification involve? Does it have you do like physical work?
It's
like
an online
exercises?
course. It's an online course, and I learned a lot of it. Like most of my knowledge as a fitness coach came from NASM and from my training as a coach's training in TrueFit Bootcamp. So NASM teaches us the basics, the very basics. So most of them I already know, but it's just like formality to study it and pass the test in order to get my certificate officially. So what they taught me is safety, how to work with people and prioritize safety over ego. So we have a lot of people who are, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. But one thing that they need to know is that they can't compare their level 1 to someone else's level 100, if you know what I mean.
You mentioned earlier, in order to be a coach, you have to be coachable.
Yeah.
What kinds of people do you encounter? You're like in close contact with a lot of different kinds of people being a fitness coach. Have you encountered clients who are feeling down about themselves and they're just not willing to do anything?
A lot of them, yeah. A lot of them. But it's also my job as a coach to motivate them. Because that's one thing. To motivate, inspire, and to lead.
How do you motivate your clients?
Right off the bat, if someone inquires for my services, I already tell them, if you're not going to follow what I tell you, if you're not going to make me your sensei, if you're not going to make me like the master of your journey, and if you're not going to follow what I tell you to do, and you do your own thing, then it's not going to work. So if some of them are like challenged by that idea, and they end up sticking to the program, whereas we have people who are stubborn, who would have the whole formula. It's like me giving you a customized recipe for your success, and you don't follow it, and then you blame the coach. So I encounter a lot of that. But most of my clients are very coachable as well, or they start out not being coachable, but because of how I talk to them, how I treat them, and how I want to see them succeed. I'm really sincere about seeing people succeed. They are moved by that idea, and eventually they follow through with the program and they see amazing results.
Did you ever think that you would become a fitness coach when you were younger?
No.
Or like a leader of some kind?
Leader, when I was younger, like how young?
How young were you? Were you a leader back then? Were you
Not
like,
really.
No?
Not really. As a kid, I was very shy. I fantasized about the idea of becoming an action star, because I would watch like Robin Padilla and a lot of those famous actors in the Philippines, and my dad. So I see the respect that was given to them, but deep inside, I was like an introvert. So nahiya ako, and I was shy. I was really like, for example, like imagine me in class. I wasn't one of those who were really loud and obnoxious. Although I had my share of foolishness back in high school, but I never saw myself as a leader until college. Yeah, college was my, that's when I had an awakening na. I want to, in a way, like I want to be able to inspire other people. I want to be able to lead by example. So that's my my awakening.
What did you do in college?
In college, I was a fine art student. So I studied painting as well. So I also tried to be a part of the swimming team, but it didn't work. And yeah, I focused most of my college life in the arts.
Favorite medium?
Medium, okay, so I have a lot. I would say if I were to pick one, oil.
Oil?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because there's more flexibility. Because I like drawing human figures. And if I use acrylic, it dries up easily. You're a painter too, you should know.
Yes.
But with oil, there's more flexibility. You can correct what needs to be corrected. You can erase it even, like slightly dab it with cloth and then redo that part. So yeah, there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of exploration with oil painting. And yeah, I will always end up liking the finished product with oil versus other mediums.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Have you tried other media?
I did a lot of acrylic too, but it was like a different type of art. It wasn't like realistic. So I kind of dabbed a little into abstract to surrealism. So I used acrylic and oil for that.
Oh, cool. Have you tried sculpture? Were you have any like public art experience?
We had a subject for sculpture back when I was in UP Fine Arts. So I have a little knowledge with sculpture, but I really didn't explore more into that. It wasn't really my interest. So it was like, for me, if I were to go back to the arts, it would definitely be as a painter, not as a sculptor. Yeah.
I imagine you would be doing photography too.
Photography, not really. Feeling photographer siguro. Feeling photographer, kasi like I would think that it's nice, but if I would show it to an actual, a real photographer, they would probably laugh at me.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
But
I don't really
beauty
have an eye for photography. Maybe I do. Maybe if I study photography formally, I could pick it up. But my knowledge of photography is like 1% compared to painting.
Why did you choose to go into fine arts? So obviously we're Filipinos, we're Asians. A lot of parents would say no, you can't take that. You have to choose something that will give you a good job. You have to be practical and choose a major, choose a college coursework that's gonna be that you can use to get a job.
To get a job, yeah.
Right? Why did you choose fine arts?
See, that's one thing about me. When I was younger, I had like, my mind is all over. I didn't want to choose like one thing specific. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that one. So I chose fine arts only because at that time when I was enrolling or I was taking talent tests or entrance examinations in different colleges in the Philippines, someone suggested for me to take up fine arts because it's a non-quota course. And if you pass, you can shift after 2 years. And my dad's dream for me back in the day was to become an architect. So, fine arts, okay, so if I study fine arts and study it for 2 years and do good in my academics, I can shift to architecture eventually. So that was the plan. But I fell in love with fine arts at that time. That was our early 2000s. And I started creating my own network in the Philippines in that community. So I didn't shift anymore. Like, I ended up finishing the course.
Did you have exhibitions, solo exhibitions?
I had a lot of group exhibitions, but after college, I wasn't really active in exhibits. So I did group exhibitions if someone would say, oh, we have a group exhibit. And I sold some paintings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sold some paintings in the Philippines. I did some group shows also here in LA, in Downtown Arts District. And I also do portraiture using colored pencils.
Oh, wow. Have you
Yeah.
tried pastel?
Pastel, yeah. But if someone would ask me to do a portrait or a caricature for them, I would usually either do oil or colored pencil.
That's awesome. Have you tried watercolor?
Yeah, I'm not really good at it. But I could. I also did study watercolor, but it's not my best medium.
You're a fine art major. We know that you have to go into critique a lot and you have to take it, right? You have to take criticism, you have to take all these things that will come out of your professor, your classmates, and you just have to take. How are you at critiques?
Sometimes I'm okay with it, depending on how I feel. Sometimes I'm not okay with it. I let it get into my head at times. But of course, in the long run, if you would look at the bigger picture, it would be better to use criticism to be something constructive, to make you better, to make you a better person.
Okay,
And
so
use that criticism to fuel your passion to become better in what you do.
as an artist, we all know, especially if you're a fine arts major, especially if you're an exhibiting artist, you would have to write an artist statement, right? What's your process like for writing an artist statement? Because sometimes you just create something comes out of whatever you're thinking, but you're not really thinking about the process and how you're going to explain your work. I mean, that comes later, but some people do it vice versa. How would you take on writing an artist statement?
Okay, so we did thesis in 4th year, and unfortunately I didn't do very well in that thesis because story short, my process was during that time creating paint as a medium for a painting. Like, it's kind of hard to explain now because back in the day I really did some research on that. So it's pretty much dried paint, and it's kind of like an installation / sculpture / painting, and then it's like draping down. So it's different forms of paint, like acrylic paint, dried paint, and then I would paint on top of the paint. So there was a lot. There's definitely a lot of research involved, and a lot of criticism. And that's when I took the worst criticism in my life, because I dedicated my full 4th year college in creating that thesis, only to be told by a renowned artist in the Philippines that your work looks like a piece of rag, like a trapo.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's harsh.
Yeah, it was harsh. Maybe that's also why I didn't focus too much on painting after that, because it kind of got like that was one of the moments when it kind of got into my head. But everything, like, if I would do my artist statement, I would back it up with a lot of research. Yeah, a lot of reading.
Speaking of criticism and validation from other people, you're doing hosting now, you're performing on stage. How would you take other people have to say? You're always on stage in front of a lot of people. Of course, not everyone will say, oh, you're so good. Like, not everyone's gonna say all the good stuff.
Yeah. I'm turning 40, Mick. So I'm old enough to be wiser about reacting negatively when it comes to criticisms. So back in the day, it was a totally different story, right? I was younger, I was more naive. But right now, if someone criticizes what I do, I only use it for the positive. So especially in hosting and in performing. So let's say I host, oh, you kind of sound timid, or you need to have more energy. Okay, let's put more energy on the next show. Okay, until I get used to it, then people will notice, oh, you did much better than before, and it's a good thing. Same with singing. My number one critic when it comes to singing is my sister, Ana Ilagan, because she's also a producer of shows in the Philippines with the New Minstrels. You've heard of them? Sila Ding Mercado, sila ba ba? Yung grupo na yon. Tapos, every time she would see something like a performance that I do, she would always tell me her honest opinion. She only gives credit when it's due. And everything, like maybe 90% of what would come out from her would be criticisms. Oh, you were flat in this part. Oh, here you are out of tune. You started out of tune, so it kind of ruined the whole song. You're hosting, you have energy, but like what you're saying is not appropriate, or something like that. Or you're hosting, what you're saying is very knowledgeable, but your energy is low. So there's a lot of those things, and I keep that in mind. I practice. I look at the mirror, and I just use that criticism to fuel me to become a better performer, a better coach, and a better entrepreneur.
Our family's like always the most honest people we could ever meet. Like they can tell us anything and everything, and
which is good.
Which
I
is
think.
yes,
What do you
it's
think?
good. And sometimes it doesn't phase us. Sometimes they can be the worst critics, and it hits right down. And
It does. There's gonna be moments like that.
Yeah.
I think because we're just human. We have feelings. We have emotions. But if we would let those emotions eat us up, if we would let them overcome us as a person, then you're set for failure. Whereas if you control your emotions and use your head instead, in all aspects, not in performing, in putting up a business, in putting up a podcast, that's going to make us a better person. So, like there's a saying, diba? Fear is like fire, or criticism, it's like fire. It can burn your house or it can cook your food. So if you use it the right way, then you're set for success.
You come from a family of actors and all kinds of entertainers, right?
Yeah.
So what was that like growing up in a family that's all entertainers? What was that like growing up?
Growing up, yeah, like what I said earlier, there was that dream, like deep inside there was that burning passion to perform. But at the same time, there's that pressure. There's a pressure that my dad is a very well respected legend in the Philippine industry, in the Philippine entertainment industry. So part of me was holding back, and I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of people, in front of my dad. I don't want to be compared to him saying, ay, hindi nagmana, or ay, parang siya yung naiiba dun sa buong grupo niya, sa buong kan. Kasi Mick, the Ilagans are actually known for entertainment ever since the time of Jose Rizal. My great-grandfather is the founder of Zarzuela.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, if you don't do good, or you're mediocre, then it's a little bit of a pressure, because you'd be considered hindi nagmana, or not good enough. So there's that fear, there's that pressure. But maybe just now, like given this opportunity, meeting you, meeting Garth, meeting the whole community, maybe like I thought to myself, maybe I would have like a second shot in it. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
When you were younger, did you have that fire in you, like, oh, I wanna do this, but was something like, were your parents like holding you back, or like was there something?
They didn't want me to be an actor. Yeah, because they already know how it is in the industry. So they had different dreams for me. But high school, I did trumpets. I did acting workshop in trumpets, and I did theater. I did a couple of plays, but I was never like the super duper lead in any of those plays. I would always do support, but I did okay, I think. But like to pursue it as career, as something I would do professionally, I would say, pwede or maybe not kasi iba yung direction na gusto nilang puntahan ko, or they want me to pursue a different path. So yeah, maybe that idea was just holding me back. And
Did you kind of feel left out?
left out, no, because I'm the youngest in our generation. So like I was the baby of the whole family, that generation. So no, I'm not the youngest. Maybe I'm like the second or third to the youngest. But they never made me feel left out. But knowing that what they are capable of doing in terms of performing made me a little shy, made me a little timid, as what they would say, or gave me a little bit of that pressure.
You said earlier that now that you're performing, you're hosting, you're doing a little bit of singing here and there. What was the turning point that made you want to be like, oh hey, I want to try this because I didn't do it for a long time. Maybe now is the time for me to shine.
There wasn't really a turning point moment, but I would go to karaoke bars and sing, and I would get compliments here and there. I would also get criticisms, but what the heck, I was just having fun. But I think what I would consider the quote-unquote turning point that you're mentioning is when you invited me to perform in Himig Natin.
Oh
back
yes.
in 2022.
that was a really fun show.
Yeah, that was one of my first shows, and then the Himig at Pulutan, which was officially my first gig in the US. And thank you so much again for considering me in that event.
He was the jeepney driver because we had a little skit where some of our singers were singing Limang Dipang Tao by Ryan Cayabia. There's a jeepney scene in that song. He was the jeepney driver.
I was the jeepney driver, Lucho was the boyfriend, and I forgot who was the girlfriend.
Yeah. That is so cool. I mean, that was a really fun show. And then we did the follow-up to that, which was singing, and he was my co-host.
Yeah, co-host and in the Christmas event.
Christmas, yeah.
It was fun, sobra.
Now that you're doing that, looking back at when you were growing up, were there any advices that your parents told you or that your cousins or uncles told you about performing, about entertaining, that you can now look back onto and use in the present?
Yeah, my dad gave me a lot of tips back in the day, because I was when I was trying to pursue the acting part, which he was not really in favor for, because he had different, like what I said earlier, he had different dreams for me. He would tell me, like, when you act, it has to come naturally. If you force it and you think that you look good, guess what? Mukha kang gago. Yun yung exact words niya. Mukha kang gago, or you look foolish. So he told me a lot of that. And my ate Ana, she's my number one critique, and she would always tell me, she would always coach me how to be more confident, tanggalin yung hiya, and stuff like that. And at the back of my head, I would always hear that voice talking to me, and it helps a lot.
Because you have that in your back pocket that you can always like kind of use, whenever you feel, that uncertainty when you're out there. It's really cool that you have that background. You've dabbled into fine arts, into sports, into the entertainment industry, and now you're more known as a fitness coach.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you're focusing on. What do you take from being an artist and being an entertainer that makes you a better fitness coach?
I think the biggest link to performing and entertainment is the aesthetic and the energy. Yeah, so aesthetic, of course you want to look presentable in front of people. You want to have that energy, the energy to perform, to move, to dance even, to sing with while not looking sluggish. You need to have that energy. So in order to have that energy, you have to be fit. And exercising regularly, eating the right food, it helps a lot. Yeah. You don't want to go to a gig or to a show feeling sluggish or feeling bloated or feeling hungover. You want to go there with high spirits, with high energy. And what people need to understand is working out isn't just about looking good. It's about feeling good as well. Feeling good, having a positive mindset, and having like sharing that energy with others as well.
You've joined some competitions, right? Being the timid boy that you were when you were a kid, what made you want to work out and, for lack of a better word, show off your body on stage in a competition?
Maybe that timidness made me want to have more energy, not to be timid. Yeah, so kind of pushed me to compete. Like stepping on stage with your shirt off motivated me to look better. And having 3 kids motivated me to live a better quality of life for a longer period of time. Kasi lahat naman tayo, like all of us are gonna go one way or another. But of course, you want to maximize your time here on earth. And exercising, eating healthy has a great impact on that as well.
Working out and preparing your body for competition on stage, there's a lot of things that you have to do, and you were saying body, you can do so many things that we don't know it could do. And it shows when you're out there on stage. How did you even think, I want to do this? So instead of performing or singing or acting, you're into bodybuilding and you're out there on stage competing with other bodybuilders.
It's kind of the same, honestly. Of course, like kind of like modeling. You would go on stage, pose, and the only difference is you're competing with someone else. Kind of like a pageant.
Yeah.
But there's no question and answer portion. It's just like comparing yourself to all the other people on stage. So, you know the saying that it's you versus you? You've heard about that, right?
Yeah.
That's so not true when it comes to stepping on stage. It's you versus 12 other beasts that are trying to beat you. So it's like whoever wants it the most. Whoever worked for it the hardest will get it. But at the end of the day, baba ka na stage, you feel good about yourself, you competed, and you didn't totally suck. Even if you did, like if you make it, then good. If you didn't make it, well, that's part of it. But you go down on stage and think to yourself that you went through something that not everyone will be willing to do. So I think that's what sets people apart when it comes to that type of competition.
Knowa is also a competitor, right? When it comes to bodybuilding.
Yes, bikini.
How did
Bikini
you
competitor.
How did you both, as husband and wife, get into that?
She actually got into it first because I was more into functional fitness, getting strong, but and of course looking good as a byproduct. But stepping on stage, I never thought about me doing that. And I watched her do it. She placed, and a lot of people respected her for that. So that's when I also got to bodybuilding as well. And that's when both of us would do shows together.
Did you encourage each other, go
we have
to the gym together?
We have to,
Was there any kind of competition between both of you in terms of like, hey, I'm doing it better than you?
No, we're in 2 different categories. So you only compete with people your category, the same category as you. So I'm in a male category, male men's physique category. She's in the female bikini category. That's 2 totally different disciplines, or 2 totally different categories. Like you can never teach a fish to climb a tree. That type of logic. So a monkey can never compete with a fish. I'm just talking figuratively. But I'm not saying I look like a monkey and she looks like a fish. No, I'm just using that figuratively, but you get the point, right?
Yeah. You have 3 kids. Did you ever think about what you would leave behind for them? Would your legacy be? We all know one day all of us will leave this earth behind. And some have kids, some don't have kids, and you have 3 kids.
Yeah.
What kind of planning are you doing to make sure that they're going to be okay?
Yeah. On top of coaching, I'm also a financial planner. So, of course, like I had that situated. I made sure that I had a good life insurance policy in place. So in case something were to happen to me, they would benefit from it. They would be able to live conveniently with or without me.
What's that like? You said you're also a life insurance agent.
Yeah, I've been a life insurance agent since I moved here.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I moved here, I really took a break on arts and performing, and I really focused on being a 9 to 5 worker, wherein I used to do also car, home. I still do it as a broker, but that's when I focused on when I worked with State Farm since 2008. So from then, 2018, I left State Farm and I opened up my own brokerage. I partnered up with my friend Andy, and we both now focus on retirement funds and life insurance and annuities. So that's everything that we talked about is actually like what I use as my bread and butter to support 3 kids.
You talk to a lot of different kinds of people every day. What do you tell them? I mean, how do you make them believe that this is the right thing to do for them?
First of all, I establish the trust. Kasi in order for them to trust their finances with someone, you need to be trustworthy. And coaching is one of my ways for people to trust me. Yeah, so if I coach them, I give them good results, and I give them a better quality of life, then I'm gonna I build that relationship, and then that's when I offer them my other service, which is financial planning. Yeah, so a lot of people come to me for that because of referrals, and a lot of people also I reach out to them because I think they need it, and I just review it, and it's not my job to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Because sometimes when people hear, oh, he's an agent, I have to stay away from that guy because he's just gonna sell me something. No, that's another thing. You have to be sincere. Just like in coaching, you have to be sincere about that person's progress and not just all about what the monetary benefit for your career. You in life insurance, in talking to people about planning for their retirement, planning for unexpected circumstances, you also need to establish that idea that he's not here to just sell you something. He's here to help you. He is here to protect you. You know, that way. That's always my approach. And if the person that I'm talking to still feels that way after everything and still pushes me away, it's okay. I move on to the next. You can't please everyone. Out of 10 people that you usually talk to, 3 of them will actually go with you. And it's a numbers game. Yeah.
So how many people do you talk to on a daily basis and try to, convince them to get an insurance plan?
So during my breaks from coaching, I spend an hour or 2 hours calling 50 people a day, and just telling them, hey, just setting appointments, no pressure. I just wanted to show you how I help people. Then I would even encounter some people. I'm not really interested in that, but I'm interested in your coaching. So, all these things. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who does multiple things, who multitasks. I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of our viewers also do that as well. And one thing you would realize is that as long as you put your heart into anything that you want to do, you will be successful. If you put your heart into it. But if it's just half of it, you're not certain to be successful in it. If you put your heart into anything that you would like to pursue, if you put your heart into being sincere about helping people, then you will be successful.
Going back to when you were younger, you said you were into so many different kinds of sports. You had so many different kinds of dreams. You wanted to do it all. Now that you're older and have more wisdom, would you say that it's better to be a master of one or a jack of all trades?
There was a point in my life when I thought that being a master of one is the way to go. But doing multiple things for a very long time, it actually taught me that anyone can wear different hats. You just don't wear it all at the same time.
How would you do that?
So if I'm here to coach you, I'm here to coach you. I'm not gonna be a performer, or I'm not gonna tell you about the other things that I do. Maybe later on, down the line, when we're hanging out. But if I'm here to work, if I'm here to help you reach your goal as a fit person, living a better quality of life, then I'm here for that only. If I'm here to help you for your finances, then I'm here for that only. Then maybe later on you're gonna find out that I'm a coach, and we can talk about that some other time. That's my example of not wearing like all the different hats all at the same time.
Come from a family of entertainers, and they've left long-lasting memories and impactful legacies. If you were to pass and would leave this earth, what would your legacy be? What would you want people to remember you by?
I want people to say that if Superman were a real person, that would be Christian Ylagan.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christian Ylagan.
Thank you so
oh my
much.
gosh.
Thank you so much, Mic.
Thank you so
Such
much.
an honor to be part of this awesome podcast. Yeah, we've gone way back in terms of interviews, in terms of shows, and to more projects together.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, guys.
See you later, everybody.
Time to shine, shine bright, be the star you are, yeah. Time to shine, shine bright, be the star you are, yeah.
Don't miss out. Want to be seen? Want to be heard? Want lots of exposure? Ask us how.